had that dream again. My small business needs to hire, but I don't use LinkedIn, and I hire an energy vampire. But also, they're a literal vampire. And suddenly, my team is spending all their time sharpening wooden stakes and buying bulk silver and rehearsing ancient chants, and then I wake up.
Don't let hiring nightmares ruin your dreams. LinkedIn Jobs' new AI assistant takes insights from over 1 billion professionals to create a short list of the best fits for you. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/quality. Start hiring today with LinkedIn.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I want to welcome you to the new and improved Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast. After many years of interviewing the best and brightest thought leaders around the world on my SiriusXM show, I am excited to now have those interviews available to people around the globe on this podcast. So many people would write us and say, I love what I've been hearing about your interviews with these great people. Where can I access them? I live in this country or that country, or I don't have access to that technology. How can I get the information? Well, I'm so excited now that we are able to offer the information and the interviews free on this podcast. So we want you to sit back and enjoy this message and let me know how you like them. And then do me a favor. If you like them, send a review, write a review and post it. And if you like it, hit like on here and share it and tell everybody you know about it, and then subscribe to this podcast so you'll get the alerts when we post a new interview episode. Thank you for listening and enjoy the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways podcast.
Named one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world.
Inducted into the Speaker Hall of Fame.
Award-winning singer.
Best-selling author.
And now, here's Willie Jolley.
Hey, it's another great day. This is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I want to say welcome to the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show. You know you have only just a minute. I have only just a minute, only 60 seconds in it. It's forced upon us. We can't refuse it. We didn't seek it. We did not choose it, but it's up to us to use it. We must suffer if we lose it, give account if we abuse it. Oh, just a tiny little minute, but our eternities are wrapped up in it. Welcome. I hope you're ready for a blockbuster of a show today. Hey, how does a lady lose her husband, who is an incredible entrepreneur, who is the first African-American man to run a billion-dollar business, to buy it and then run it and grow it into a $2 billion business? How does a lady, after he dies, take it over and grow it even further without having a lot of business expertise? We're going to learn how Loida Lewis took over for her husband, Reginald Lewis, and how she now has a new book where he had Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? She now has a book called Why Should Guys Have All the Fun? This is going to be a show you're going to be talking about, because she is going to give you information that will change your life. Well, you know, I take a moment to thank everybody for what you've done to make this show, the #1 self-help show in the country. I want to thank all of you that we have just had such great partners. You are the partners. You are our community who have told your friends and family members. I want to thank you, and I want to encourage you to keep doing it. And then, you know, I take a moment to give God some glory for life and strength and health, just to be able to continue to do this show. We are just blessed that we are continuing to do this show year after year and bring in the best and the brightest guests. I am grateful. They are the reason the show is so successful, along with you telling your friends and family. And what I got to do is just ride and drive the ship and make sure everything keeps going and keeps growing. So thank you. I give God glory for life and strength and health, and give God glory for the opportunity to do what I do. And I'm grateful for the books and the speaking. And I am grateful for all the people now that COVID is starting to subside who are calling saying, we got to get you to our company. You got to come. Well, I'm going to as many as I can. And I want you to call and make sure you stay connected. But in the meantime, we thank God for the fact that I'm able to go and I got life and strength and health. And then I want to thank our sponsor. Our sponsor has been a tremendous partner with us over the last few seasons. Truist Financial. Truist Bank is an incredible partner. We're happy to have the support of Truist Bank. And I want to tell you about their money and mindset application. You can get it at their website. You know, the more you think and feel about money, the more it can affect your confidence and your total well-being. That's especially true when life gets real hard and throw challenges your way. So Money and Mindset from Truist gives you tips and tools to help you feel more financially prepared through your planned life moments or when life just throws you a curveball. Look, we want you to go to Money and Mindset at the truist.com site and check out the resource. It's free and it can change your life. It is a powerful resource to help you get financial literacy and help you to get more wealth in your home and in your community. So go to truist.com, truist.com. Remember, when you start with care, you build a different kind of bank. Well, my guest is Loida Lewis. She's the chair and CEO of LC Beatrice, LLC, a family investment firm, and she's the chair of the Reginald F. Lewis Foundation. She is a lawyer by profession. She is admitted to practice in the Philippines and New York, being the first Filipino and Asian American woman to pass the New York bar without having studied law in the United States. After serving 10 years as general attorney in the U.S. Immigration and Naturalization Service, she co-authored the best-selling book for immigrants, How to Get a Green Card, now in its 14th edition. Mrs. Lewis loves giving back to the community, but the role she loves most is mama and grandmama, and now being a lady who has created wealth and shown that it is possible. My dear friend, Loida, good to have you on again. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Willie Jolley. It is an honor and a pleasure to be with you again. Thank you.
It's such a joy. Well, I kind of filled in some of the things about where you came from, but give a little more, because in the book, the new book, you actually go into detail about your life. You're from the Philippines. Tell us, you grew up in a very unique family. Tell us a little more about you and where you came from and how you got to be this incredible role model for so many people.
Yes, my book, with chapter 1, starts with the girl from Sorsogon. I was born and I grew up in a town of, a small town, but my father had big plans for me. So when I was 7 years old, he named a movie theater Loida Theater, because in his mind, he wants me to enter politics. And so I would have name recognition by that time. So he was very instrumental in creating the basic values. So every Saturday, Sunday, when he comes from Manila, because he had a very successful furniture store, he would, after dinner, he would start the passing of values. All right. What are the secrets of success? And he would say, what are those secrets? And give examples from his life. So I went to Catholic school, high school, St. Agnes, Benedictine Sisters, and college, all-girls school again, by Belgian nuns. And because of that, I wanted to be a nun. I thought a life of service where these Germans, these Belgians left their country to come and serve the Filipino people, the Filipino youth, was very noble. And so when I was in law school, second year, college, I was given a date to enter the nunnery, July 4. But my mother said, Loida, you're already halfway through law school. Why don't you finish it? So if you enter the convent, you can work as a lawyer. If you leave the convent, you're still a lawyer. Your merchandise is in your head. And so I thought that was good. And so I did not enter. I finished law school. I passed the bar. And that's when my father sent me on a round-the-world trip to go to New York, take my sister, wait for my sister who was studying at Columbia University, and then come back home and start my career, my political career.
Wow. Well, from the book, you tell while you're in New York with your sister, one of you gets a job. You get a job with a gentleman and working in his office, and you introduce him, just been passing to your sister. And he says, I'd like to take her out. She's beautiful. And so they go out, but he said, we need to have a double date. And he invites a young friend of his named Reginald Lewis to the dinner meeting with him and your sister, and the rest is history.
That's right. That's right. They were classmates at Harvard Law School.
Wow.
And so Ray Glover, my boss, said, let's have a double date. Loida, I'll fix you a blind date. And in my mind, I've never done it before. Sure, why not? And that's how I met Reginald Lewis on a blind date. We were married 7 months later.
Wow. Well, for folks, just in the rare event that someone who is listening says, well, who is this Reginald Lewis that they keep talking about? Well, let me give you, and you can fill in the blanks if I miss something. He was from Baltimore. He was a football player, went to Virginia State University, I believe, and played football. And then he wanted to go to law school. And he was able to get into law school, Harvard Law School. And if I remember from reading the book, without applying, because he was so wise and smart and just strategic. And so he got into Harvard Law School, and then he practiced law after getting out of Harvard Law School for a few years as a practicing lawyer, but he always had an entrepreneurial desire, a bent. And he started in his entrepreneurial activities of buying small companies. And he bought a small company, and he was able to make that successful. And then he sold it, and he realized there was money to be made there. And then he bought a larger company, and I think he bought the McCall Pattern Company, and he was able to build that into a profitable company. And then he bought TLC Beatrice, which made him the first Black man to have CEO and ownership of a multinational company that was global. And he ran that with such excellence and such incredible success. And then, unfortunately, he was stricken with brain cancer, inoperable brain cancer. And it eventually, he fought a good fight, but he eventually succumbed to that illness. But he left his wife with such information and 2 beautiful daughters. And his wife then took over the company and ran it successfully and built it into a even more profitable venture. Tell us about what I left out in that story, Loida.
Well, the story of Reginald F. Lewis was written in his book, Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? How Reginald created $1 billion business empire. And it was published by Wiley in 1995. And for the past 30 years, I've been talking about it, going to schools, and it became a bestseller in Business Week. And actually, every time somebody knows, oh, you're Mrs. Lewis, I read your husband's book and I changed my career, or I changed my, I aimed for the top in my company, or I started my own business. So it's a very, very inspiring book, especially for Black men and women and other nations. So that's the book.
Why should white guys have all the fun? My son read that book when he was in high school, or junior high school, actually. And it was so empowering. And then I read it because he said, Dad, they made us, gave us this book at school, and you got to read this book. And I read it. It was so powerful, so profound. And then I became a big fan of Reginald Lewis and his thinking. And we know that the Reginald Lewis Museum is in Baltimore. And so we want to encourage people to go and see all that he did. If you have not read Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun, I highly recommend you get the book and you read it. Well, before we get too far into talking about Reginald Lewis's book and Mrs. Lewis's new book, I want to make sure everybody knows that we've got a lot of information, not just in the book. She's going to share some things she shared with me offline about ways that she has built her success that she didn't even read and write in the book, that she didn't even include in the book. You're going to want to stay around and listen to these gems that she's going to throw at you on how to build your wealth, how to build your success, and how to build your family and your future, and how to have fun in the process. Hey, this is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways show and podcast. And for sure, your best is yet to come. We'll be right back. Friendship is not about being convenient. It's about being committed and consistent. You can call on me when you need me. You can call on me. Call me. You can call on me. Pick up the phone. You can call and call me.
Are you ready to revolutionize your relationship with money? I'm Brian Ford, a financial wellness expert.
And I'm Bright Dixon, an expert in positive psychology. Together, we host Money and Mindset with Bright and Brian, a podcast from Truist Bank that's all about exploring the relationship between your money, your mindset, and your well-being.
Find us wherever you listen to podcasts or truist.com/money and mindset podcast.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I have a question for you. Have you ever wondered why some people can make $1 million, lose it, make a second million, lose that, then make a third million, while other people can't even make ends meet? Well, the reason is that those people know the recipe for success. And that recipe is available to everyone if you will do what they did. They made a habit of getting positive, motivational resources of great thinkers and great learners. And I want to offer those same kind of resources to you. We've developed a free page on my website. It's wjspeaks.com/gift. wjspeaks.com/gift. On that site, we've got resources, books, audios that help you to grow, and they're free. So go to wjspeaks.com/gift, wjspeaks.com/gift, and get some of those resources, and then share that page with your friends and your family members. We want to impact and inspire millions of people. And remember, if you enjoy this message on this podcast, like it, share it, and post a review about it, and make a difference in the lives of others by letting them know about it. Have a great day. This is Dr. Willie Jolley.
A to the D to the T to the I to the T to the U to the D to the E. A to the D to the T to the I to the T to the U to the D to the E. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's all about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's all about your attitude. It's about your attitude. It's about your attitude.
And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways show and podcast around the world, around the globe. And we're grateful for each one of you who is making this part of your routine every week to listen. We got so many people around the world who say, I listen every week. I listen every week. Well, I'm glad you do. And I'm glad you are listening right now. I want to encourage you, wherever you are, to go to winwithwillie.com, winwithwillie.com, which is my website
that has all my other websites ingrained in that one website. We got our motivation website, our inspirational website, our products, our youth motivation website, our faith-based website. We have our marriage, Jolley Marriage website. We got a bunch of websites there to keep you going, and resources there that you can get free resources, and some that you can invest in your future, your finances, your thinking, your faith. And we want you to grow your success and your wealth. So go to winwithwillie.com, sign up for my weekly newsletter, and make sure you get that, so you'll get the basic, creative, incredible lessons I learn every week from these incredible guests. And I send out a weekly newsletter saying, look what I learned from these folks. And some of those lessons are things that we talk about off air that you want to hear about as well. So go to winwithwillie.com, sign up for the newsletter. And I am grateful to have as my special guest, Loida Lewis, who has a fantastic new book called Why Should Guys Have All the Fun? And how she ran a billion-dollar business and was able to make it even more wealth, generational, profitable in the time she ran it. Well, let's take off from where you left. Oh, I want to take a moment to, you kind of talked about your father, and I want to take a moment to dig into those 5 points your father would sit around the dinner table and make sure all of his children were aware of, because your father was an entrepreneur, and he had a very successful business, but he made sure he pounded, he worked on, he developed your thinking, all his children, that they would be able to take his basic 5 principles for success. Give those to us, please, if you would.
But his father died when he was 12, and in the Filipino community, and maybe also in the Black community, when you are poor, because the mother was just a teacher with 3 sons, she sent the eldest, my father, to a rich uncle to work. And that uncle was very, very entrepreneurial. And so he learned 5 lessons of success, and he wanted to transfer that to us, his 5 children. The first is work hard work, because he said, nothing will happen if you sit on your behind and do nothing. So work hard. And the second one is common sense. Common sense means think about what will happen. You know, when somebody asks you, can you find out what that truck is doing down there? Oh, they are delivering copra. Okay, and how much how much does it cost? And you go down there again. So common sense is you get all the information so that you are properly trained. Number 3, resourcefulness. And he would say, you're going to the church and it is flooded. So what do? You either take a banca, or you swim, or if you can afford it, a helicopter. There are many ways to kill a cat, they say. There are many ways to reach your goal. Number 4 is perseverance. Don't be dismayed. You fail, you try again. Try and try again. If at first you don't succeed, try the next. And the 5th one is faith in God. Faith in God, because you know God loves you and will not let anything overpower you, because God is behind you. God is in front of you. So those are the every weekend we would hear those, you know, and then it would, you know how kids are, in one ear, what the other. But they stayed with me, and that, I think that's part of the makeup of my personality. Aside from my grandmother always repeats, what's not good for you, don't do to others. What's bad for you, don't do to others. Yeah. So those are the things that, you know, sort of like is the underpinning of my moral compass.
Wow. You let me say very clearly, for folks who are listening, everybody knows that my show is a show that I am very clear about the fact that my faith is a major part of my success story. When I wrote my book, A Setback is a Setup for a Comeback, I remember sending it to the publisher, a big New York publisher, and the editor sent back and said, we thought you were writing a success book. You mentioned God in your book. You mentioned faith in your book. I thought you were writing a success book. And I told her, I said, I did write a success book. A setback is a setup for a comeback. But I cannot tell you a story about somebody else's success. I had to tell you how I got to success. And my success is partnering with my faith. And I don't know how to have success without having that partnering with my faith. It's like trying to take hot out of fire, wet out of water. I don't know how to do it. And I was a student and a proponent of the fact that faith and works and action and having a big vision are the keys, but you got to have faith. And your book talks about that over and over again. I love the fact that you are clear. It was your faith that got you through when things were tough. It was your faith that got you to do the big things and to take the steps. And you closed the book with a message about faith. I love the fact that you didn't beat anybody up. You didn't say, look, you got to do it my way, but here's what got me through. Same kind of story as my story, that it's your faith that is part of your success. Am I right about it?
That is absolutely right. Without God, we can do nothing. I mean, I can do nothing.
There you go. You put it so clearly, so wonderfully, and it's just incredible. Well, you talk about so many wonderful things. And let me ask you a few things. Soulmate, arguably the country's prominent Black entrepreneur. You were the soulmate of Reginald Lewis. What did you learn in that time with him? I think y'all were married almost 25 years. What did you learn from this guy? What did he do to influence and inspire and teach you about business? What were some of the lessons?
Well, first of all, I would not have married him if he were not better than me in all respect. I would not marry him. Therefore, when he talks, I listen. What is it? In fact, I say it in my book, that, why should guys have all the fun? An Asian American story of love, marriage, motherhood, and running $1 billion empire. So I say that when he just said offhand, Loida, you don't know where I live, I was so hurt. Why? Because like you, Dr. Jolley, I believe in God. I believe that I'm a Christian. And for my own husband to tell me, you don't know where I live, means I wasn't listening. I wasn't aware of what he is, of what his aspiration is. And so part of my role as a wife is to be his teammate. I will help him because he was so ambitious. He said, I wanted to be the richest Black man in America. Not that he told that to me. He told that to his aunt when he was 7 years old.
Wow.
7 years old, and he was already ambitious. So my role then was to be his helpmate. He was to be the oasis to come home to and drink water from when he comes from home. Not to say when he comes home tired, where have you been? Why are you late? No. Be the what do you call this now? Be the soft landing. Darling, have you eaten? Okay, because maybe he's not eaten. And if he's very, very tired, do you want a massage? Or I know how to do foot massage, reflexology. For me, I mean, here is my man who is tired, who is fighting out there, dragons and monsters. So he doesn't have to fight a dragon in the house. So
Amen.
What did I learn from him? I learned his ambition. What did he want to do? That's why when he died, I knew what he wanted to do. And I did it.
You certainly did do it. You did it in the book, how you had to do it from the day one, the challenges that were when you walked in the door as the chairperson, as the new CEO, there was one problem after another. Before I go further, we want to take a moment to talk about the writer who worked with both books, Blair Walker. Blair Walker has been a tremendous. Real quick, Miss Lewis, talk a little bit about Blair Lewis. I'm Blair
Walker. Yes. I was going, when Mr. Lewis was walking past me in Paris, where we lived for 5 years, as I was busy typing my book, How to Get a Green Card, because I worked with immigration. And I stopped working because we moved to Paris. And so he said, oh, I'm envious. You're writing your book. And I said, darling, you have a book, your story. Please, tell it to the world. And he started writing it. But then, as you have said, Dr. Jolley, he died after a short illness of brain cancer. And so I had to look for who will finish it. Not successful the first one, Jonathan Hicks, who was his brother in the fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi, because they became good friends. So
Right.
Jonathan Hicks said, I want to be objective. And then we had another one, Christopher Malloy. Also, he said, I can't do it. So I called the third person, Blair Walker. And you know what he said? As soon as he answered and knew who I was, I knew I was going to do it. He had a sense of destiny. So Blair Walker was a reporter there at USA Today and wrote a beautiful piece of obituary when he died. And so he was my third and the best choice.
Amen.
So that's the book, Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun?
And
So after 30 years, I said, Blair, okay, I was only chapter 6 in Mr. Lewis' book, Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? I want to write my own book. So can you co-write with me? You know half of my story, so you finish the other. I mean, I'll tell you the other half, my early beginnings. And that's how it happened. And
Blair
we
Walker.
quarreled about it, but I told Blair, I want the title of the book, Why Should Guys Have All the Fun? Marriage, Motherhood, and Running a $1 billion empire.
Wow. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come right back. We got Loida Lewis as our special guest today. We'll be right back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show. And for sure, your best is yet to come. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and I got an email from a gentleman in Australia who shared how he had been struggling in his business, and he bought some of my books and audios, and how it had a profound impact on his business, and he went from worst to first in his company. I shared with him how much I appreciated his note, but I told him those books, those audios, those videos were not just something that I just thought up one day and started to write. They were born out of my experiences, out of the challenges of overcoming the problems and the difficulties and how I was able to do it. And I shared with him that others have sent similar messages and that these resources work. I want to encourage you and invite you to go to my store. Go to wjspeaks.com/shop. wjspeaks.com/shop. Get some of the books. It only takes a minute to change your life. Or a setback is a setup for a comeback. Or turn setbacks into greenbacks. Or chicken soup for the soul. Or an attitude of excellence. Or the book I wrote with my wife after 34 years of being married and not having an argument in over 30 years. We wrote a book called Make Love, Make Money, Make It Last. And now it is saving marriages all over the globe. Go to the store. Get some of the audios, the videos, the books, the resources to help you have greater personal and professional success. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Make this a great day on purpose.
And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways Show and podcast around the world, around the globe, or as my friend Joe Madison says, border to border, coast to coast, and globally. Well, our sponsor today, again, is Truist Bank. Truist believes that better lives and communities begin with care. That includes caring a lot about the well-being of their clients, their community, their customers. Let me tell you what I mean. Truist is really interested in improving the connection between your finances and your personal well-being. So they launched Money and Mindset. It's an online resource to help you build financial confidence and a healthier mindset around your money. I've spent some time with Money and Mindset. I was a guest on the podcast itself, and it is awesome. It's the real deal. One great takeaway I found was that when you're on top of your finances, you can enjoy benefits beyond reaching goals. Think reducing overall stress or feeling greater reassurance, knowing that you're better prepared for a financial challenge should it come your way. There's also a Money and Mindset podcast for all the podcast listeners looking for some real talk about money and how to grow it. It's called Money and Mindset with Bright and Brian. Money and Mindset with Bright and Brian, and you can find it wherever you listen to podcasts. So I highly recommend that you take time to jump into this great resource. Search Truist Money and Mindset online, or head to truist.com, and you can find it in the main menu. Truist. When you start with K, you build a different kind of bank. My special guest is Loida Lewis. She is an incredible woman, just an incredible woman. And she has a brand new book. I want you all to go right now to your, wherever you buy books, go to Amazon, go to where can they get the book, Loida? And remember, say it one more time, where the name of the book and where they can get it, please.
Yes, I just wrote a book, Why Should Guys Have All the Fun? Asian American Story of Love, Marriage, Motherhood, and Running a $1 billion Empire. That's the name of my book. That's out now on your local bookstore or Amazon.com. And thank you, Dr. Jolley, for having me here.
Oh.
Dr. Willie Jolley.
I love Loida Lewis. I love her spirit. I love her as a person. I believe that she's one of the great spirits on the earth. And she tells the story. She doesn't hold back anything. She doesn't pull any punches. The good, the bad, the ugly. She talks about the mistakes, the challenges, the overcoming. She doesn't shy away from anything. I'm telling you, everybody needs to read this book. Everybody. Why should guys have all the fun? And she talks about the challenges and the successes that she was able to employ and the lessons. That's what's powerful, the lessons. And I was so taken because I knew the story pretty much of Reginald's demise, but and his growth, but I didn't know her background coming from the Philippines. I didn't know about her father and her background, how she was a lawyer. I knew she was a lawyer, but how she got there. And I didn't know how they met. It just one great story. And then how they were able to build this company really together because he relied on her. He would come home from a hard day working and ask for her advice, for her thoughts, because she was an attorney and she was brilliant. Well, Loida, you have written this wonderful book. Now,
wait. I have to correct you. He did not ask for my advice. He did not ask for my advice because he is in the deal business. And when he was at law school, at Harvard Law School, he got an honors grade for his term paper, How to Build Wealth. And the first sentence is, in order to create wealth, you must do merger and acquisition. Why? Because if you start up, you are only 10%, according to data, you have only a chance of 10% succeeding. 90% of startups fail.
Wow.
And so for him, he will buy a business. And in fact, one time when he was saying, this and that about a deal, McCall pattern probably, that he was trying to finish. And I said, I just said, oh, darling, it's going to get done. And he chopped up what do you know about deal business? I said, I know nothing, but I know you'll get it done. So I did not give advice, only every now and then, but it was him. And I was just listening, learning, soaking it.
What you just did was show me that she didn't give him a lot of advice. You gave him encouragement. And that's what he needed.
That's it. Exactly. And as I said,
I believe
black
in you.
Men especially.
Yes.
Black men especially. Because when they go out into the world, it's like your head is in a vice. Racism is rampant in the United States. It's still here.
Yes.
A little less, but still here. And so those who are married to people of color, to black men, you've got to give them encouragement. When they come home and said, oh my God, I think I made a mistake. And you're going to say, what stupid thing? That's not encouragement. You just say, it happened already. So you say, no, it's all right. That's the right thing to say. He deserved what you said. Don't worry about it. That was correct. Something happened already. Just, lift your man up. He deserves it.
Amen. You know what? I love this, and this part of this interview I love because you remind me of my wife. My wife is very encouraging. Over the years, every time I've said I quit my job, I'm become a full-time speaker, she said, you can do it. When I said I'm going to write a book, you can do it. When I said I'm going to start a radio program, you can do it. And even though there were challenges, there were setbacks, there were difficulties, you can do it. She always encouraged me, continue to do so today. And that is what I'm so proud of you, that when Reginald Lewis would come after a hard time and after some disappointment, because he tried to buy a number of companies and failed. He had failure. failures, but you kept encouraging him, and encouraging him. And that's what made a major difference in his success story. And that's why he was so dependent on you and so in love with you. Well, you went on, and the two of you started working together in terms of being encouraging. And he built, how did he get TLC Beatrice? Because he really struggled to buy a big company. Tell us that story.
Okay. As you said, he failed 3 times to buy a company until he succeeded in McCall Pattern Company. Mm-hmm. He bought it for 0 cash. This one is 100% debt. $22.5 million in 1984. And you know, but at that time, you can still do it. Borrow all the money. And that's what he did. JP Morgan gave him the cash on his signature. And this is what I want to tell everyone who are entrepreneurs. You have to establish a track record of success, of honesty, of integrity. So when he came to his banker and said, I need, cash, $500,000 to put up as a down payment. And the banker said, Reg, since 10 years ago, you came to me and said, this is my plan for the year. And every year you exceed that plan. Every year you exceed the plan. So on your signature, on the basis of your track record, I lend you $500,000. That's what happened. And he sold it in 3 years for a 90-to-1 return. And right after that, there was a news article in the New York Times, 90-to-1 return to an investor. And who read it? Mike Milken in California, who was the head then of Drexel Burnham Lumber, and called him, Reg, tell me, how did you do this? And then Mr. Lewis recounted, blah, 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 blah. And then he said, why? And Mike Milken said, why don't you come here and I'll give you a bigger bat to swing with? And so he called me and said, did you see what Mike Milken just said? I earned, a lot of money selling McCall, and he said he wants to give me a bigger bat. Boy, do I have something for him. And that is the deal. Beatrice International Foods, 64 companies in 31 countries, and it was being auctioned. So in order to enter the auction room, you must have credibility. So when he sent in his bid of $987 million, that's nearly $1 billion. When Solomon Brothers saw his bid, called up Mike Milken, because Mike Milken, Drexel Burnham, was his investment banker. Who the blip is TLC Group? And Mike Milken said, look, he has credibility with me. We're in. And that's how he won it.
Wow.
He was supported by somebody in the team. And this is what I want to impress. That's 1987. $1 billion, he won the auction to buy Beatrice International Foods. And since that time, have you heard of any black man or any person of color, Latino, who buys $1 billion company? None. So that's what I want to emphasize. Racism and discrimination is still alive and well in the finance world.
Wow. What a great story of creating a reputation, having integrity, making sure people know you, and then delivering. Because if he hadn't gotten that 90-to-1 return, then he wouldn't have gotten that kind of accolades, and then they came to him. So folks, the lesson here is always be excellent. Create a reputation for excellence. Create a personal brand of excellence. If you do, people will come to you and want to do business. So keep developing your personal brand of excellence and keep dreaming big, thinking big on those dreams and those thoughts. Oh, this is so good. This is so good. I love this. And the fact that why should guys have all the fun? Why should guys have all the fun? Everybody, wherever you are around the world, around the country, to go and get copies of, not one, not two, get a bunch of copies for this book. Give them to your cousins, your family members, because particularly the women in your family who need to know how to handle not only business, but also how to handle setbacks and grief. Because she talks about in the book how she was struggling after his death, and yet had to make up her mind with the faith of God that she was going to go forward and make his dream a reality. Isn't that right, Mrs. Lewis?
That's right. That's right. I was a basket case because, at 50, you're not supposed to die. When we
Right.
were supposed to grow old together. And then suddenly in 3 weeks, he was gone.
Wow.
The biopsy came in New Year, and January 19, he was gone. He left me. I was discombobulated. I did not know what to do. I could not think. I could not even say the Our Father, honestly. Thy
Wow.
will be done. I couldn't say it. Yes. But God will not leave me orphan. He did not abandon me. What is that in Isaiah? A mother may forget the baby on her breast, but I will not forget you. So I held on to those words. And it's almost like I asked for his help, Lord, lift me up. And he lifted me up. And I've been
Wow.
walking ever since.
Wow. It's such a great story in the book about the process of how she got past it, how she relied on her faith, how she was able to make a decision one morning. I'm going to be, after they looked for a CEO, they went to Colin Powell. He said, no, I can't do it. They went to different people. No, I can't. She said, you know what? The Lord told me I can do it. And she did it. You got to read the story. We're going to be right back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Ways show and podcast. And for sure, your best is yet to come. We'll be right back.
Afraid of flying, I always kept my dreams on the ground. Life had enough ups and downs. But Lord, since I met you, all that's changed in the blink of an eye. Now all my heart wants to do is fly. You put wings on my dreams and overcame my fear of heights. Now how high will I fly? If I dare to touch the sky, oh, I'm flying.
Hi, this is Dr. Willie Jolley, and people often ask, how did I go from a broke, busted nightclub singer to become a best-selling author and to be voted one of the outstanding 5 speakers in the world by the 175,000 members of Toastmasters International? The answer is that I decided to invest and change my thinking, invest in my mindset, and decided to change my inputs because inputs determine outputs. I heard about a seminar years ago when I was just getting started. I was making about $100 a speech. And I heard this seminar that was creating millionaires, and it cost $10,000, but the guy was getting results. I didn't have that kind of money, but I decided to borrow it because I learned that there's a price for success, the price of college, the price of going to school, the price of education. And there's a price for success, and then there's a cost for not paying the price, the cost of staying the same. And that cost is greater than the price. It's too expensive. And so I went and it changed my life. And I came back and quickly made $100,000. I heard a similar story from Dr. Dave Martin, how he went to a success rally, heard a speaker who inspired him. He and his friend said, wow, that's changed my life. The speaker had a package of materials to help build wealth. The package cost $1,500. And that was all the money Dr. Dave had to his name. Dr. Dave's friend asked, do you think this stuff is worth it? Dr. Dave thought for a moment. He said, I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it. But I do know that I'm worth it. I'm worth it. He invested that money in that package and used the materials to grow his thinking. He grew his mindset. He shared how that $1,500 investment has gone on to generate millions in revenues. He's a multimillionaire. And he has homes now in Arizona and Florida. I want to say to you, it's time to invest in you. I want to give you some materials that will help you, grow your mindset, grow your future, grow your finances. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire. wjspeaks.com/billionaire to get some materials that will inspire your success and help you find that there's a price for success, but there's a cost for not paying the price. And the cost is always greater than the price. Go to wjspeaks.com/billionaire and get the bag, the box, or any of the materials there and keep growing your wealth. And remember, as a man thinketh, so as he is, and your best is yet to come.
Motivated, highly motivated, motivated, gonna take it to the top. Motivated, highly motivated, motivated, I'm never gonna stop. I had a job I really hated.
And we're back. This is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Show and podcast around the world and around the globe. We are excited about being the #1 self-help show in America now. And I am grateful that it's you listeners who made it this way. You have told your friends, your family members, your coworkers, listen to his show because he's telling you stuff that will help you grow your wealth. And my special guest today is Loida Lewis, Mrs. Loida Lewis, who is the widow of Reginald Lewis, who was the person that was written about in the book, Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun? It was such a powerful story about his ascent to become the first Black man to buy $1 billion business and to build it. And then when he succumbed to brain cancer, she took it over. She wasn't initially going to do it, but she got the faith. I can do it. And you did it. Now, you had all sorts of challenges. One of the things you had was that some people underestimated your ability, and there was racism, like you talk about in the book, about people who questioned you because you were Filipino American and questioned you because you were a woman, but you were able to run that company and build stockholder wealth, which is what he always focused on. What is the stockholder benefit? Let's focus on stockholder success. Am I right about it? Isn't that what he would always say?
That's correct. To create wealth, not to create an empire, not ego.
It was not ego. Create wealth, not create an empire. Create wealth. And that meant that after you had built it to a successful point, you started selling off parts at a profit. Am I right?
That's correct. Mr. Lewis borrowed $1 billion to buy the company. By the time he bought it in 1987, he already disposed of half a billion. He sold all the company, so he didn't have to borrow $1 billion. He only was going to borrow $500 million. And by the time he owned it, he sold another supermarket chain in Alsace-Lorraine. And so the debt of $1 billion was reduced to $350 million. So when I took over, they wanted me to pay that debt. And that's why I had to sell one aspect of the business, the supermarket business. I sold it for $500 million. And so I had zero debt. By the time 1998 came, I had no more debt. And I sold piece by piece by piece by piece, and I got $1 billion back.
Wow. Wow. 1 billion, folks, billion. She got 1 billion back. She ran a $1 billion empire or company. And then now, did you eventually sell TLC totally, or did you retain it? I don't know where it is at this point in time.
Yes. All right. The tax law says that if you distribute wealth, if you distribute proceeds of the company as income, then for high net worth individual, the tax is 40%. So wow. You gain nothing. So if you sell the company or dissolve the company, then that's capital gains, not income tax. And the income tax is only 20%. So that's when I decided not so much to exit it by that way, but that we were being challenged by our partners in France, that if we do not act immediately, they are going to demand that we buy the company from them, and that's a whole lot of liability. So I said, instead of waiting for this time for them to ask us to buy them, we will sell the whole thing. And that's when we sold it to a French company, Casino, for 28 times their cash flow. That's a way of selling companies. Multiply your cash flow by 10%, by 15%. And at that time in 1987, supermarket in France, in the public market, was selling for 38 times their cash flow. So I said, oh my God, this is the time to sell it. There's a time to sell and a time to buy. Time to sell and time to fold. So that's when I decided, all right, start selling.
Wow.
And that's when I paid all the debt, zero debt, and started selling the supermarket business, the ice cream business in Spain, in France, in Germany, in Italy, the potato chip business in Ireland, and the bottling companies in Thailand and in Belgium.
Wow. Where you got to know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away. All right. And she knew when to walk away. And that is why she was able to create a generational wealth, not just for her and her children, but her grandchildren. And, the Bible says a good man, a good person creates a legacy, an inheritance for their children's children. And so that's what she has done. Well, Mrs. Lewis, I ask every guest a question, and I'm going to ask you the same question. So if you came to Washington, D.C., and you had a meeting, and I came by and picked you up, my wife and I, and we took you to lunch, and then we went over to Howard University or Georgetown or GW or Washington College, whatever. We went to one of the great schools here in Washington and went to a business class. And we walked in, and I said, this is Mrs. Loida Lewis, and I gave you an introduction. Tell these young students a few you gotta. If you're going to be a success in business, here's some things you gotta do.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Willie Jolley. Because what I'll tell now is not in my book. Why should guys have all the fun?
Yes.
It's my own advice when a young person asks me. Okay,
yes.
There are 3 secrets to my success. The first one is setting goal setting. If you're a student, then your goal is to graduate, to finish your school with good grades if possible, and not, so having a girlfriend, that's not going to help you finish your school, finish what you're studying. Or if you are working, have a goal. What's your financial goal? What's your personal goal? What's your professional? All right, and spiritual. So set a goal. The second one is code of ethics. Obey a code of ethics. Because if you make shortcuts, you break the rules, you break the law, the consequences would be terrible. You may not get it immediately, but it will come.
Right.
So obey the code of ethics, which is really the 10 commandments. Okay,
Right.
Love God, love your neighbor. Obey a code of ethics. The last one is determination, because there will be many people when you're aspiring. Oh, you can't do that. Oh, who do you think you are? Don't listen to naysayers. Believe in yourself and believe in God, because what I've just told you, our goal setting is G, obedience to a moral code is O, determination is D, and you put them together, it spells God. With God, everything is possible.
Wow.
With God, nothing is impossible.
Wow.
All right. So there you are. The 3 secrets of Loida Lewis success. And read my book. Why should guys have all the fun? An Asian American story of love, marriage, motherhood, and running a $1 billion empire.
Wow. What a great God. G is setting goals. O, obedience to your code of ethics. No shortcuts. I heard it just the other day. When you make shortcuts somewhere along the way, you're going to get cut short. And I think that's true. And then determination, and put God in everything you do. Look, this is my kind of interview, folks. I love talking about people in success and faith. I love how they are not mutually exclusive. You can be a person of faith and still be a person of success. And then many people think that you got to do one or the other, but it's not true. God gives you the power to create wealth. He says it in Deuteronomy. And that is what he has told us all. Well, we are coming to the close of this interview. Mrs. Loida Lewis, I want you to again tell people the name of the book, where they can get it, and then any last thought.
Why should guys have all the fun? An Asian American story of love, marriage, motherhood, and running a billion-dollar empire. And you can get it in your closest bookstore or Amazon.com. And so for my last words, I will repeat Proverbs 3, verse 5 and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend on your own understanding. Seek his will in all you do, and he will show you which path to take. Amen.
Wow. Amen. I love Loida Lewis, folks. Let me make it clear. I love Loida Lewis. She has been my guest before. If you had not heard her before, go to my podcast. Look for the Loida Lewis interview about Reginald Lewis. It will bless you. It will inspire you. It will encourage you. But now she has this new book, and why should guys have all the fun? It's an Asian American story of love and motherhood and business, and how she ran a billion-dollar empire, and how she did it with such grace and style and love. Even when she had to make tough decisions, you see in the book, she did it with love. And someone said she's the velvet glove. She's the iron fist in a velvet glove. She was not a pushover, but she was kind to people and always loving and caring. I love this book. I encourage you all to go get it. It will bless you. It will bless your families. I again want to thank our friends at Truist. You can revolutionize your relationship with money by listening to the podcast, Money and Mindset with Bright and Brian. Real talk and relevant advice to help you live a happier, more financially confident life. Listen at Money and Mindset on any podcast. So go to truist.com and look for it in the truist.com website. You'll be glad you did. I also want to encourage everybody, wherever you are around the world, to go to winwithwillie.com, winwithwillie.com, so that you can get access to all my websites. And I want to encourage everybody to go to our jollymarriage.com, jollymarriage.com. Watch the new TED Talk with my wife and I, where we talk about how to never, ever argue again in marriage. We've been married for going on 40 years, haven't had an argument over 35 years. So you want to watch that TED Talk. And then you also want to share it with your friends and family members. And then join us every Monday night on Jolly Marriage Show at A Jolly Marriage on Facebook, A Jolly Marriage on Instagram, A Jolly Marriage on Twitter, and Willie Jolley LinkedIn Live. Hey, this is Dr. Willie Jolley on the Willie Jolley Wealthy Way Show. I hope you enjoyed it today. Tell everybody about it. And remember, for sure, your best is yet to come. Have a great week on purpose. God bless you. Well, I hope you enjoyed this podcast episode, and I hope you got something of great value. And I hope that you were inspired, you were motivated, you were empowered, and you were encouraged to live your best life. I hope this information and this inspiration will help you to do more, be more, and to achieve more. That's the goal why I started this program, and I hope it helped you in a mighty way. Now, I ask you to make sure and that you take full advantage of all the resources that came through this program. I hope you go to wjspeaks.com/gift and get some of the free resources that we have there for you. I hope you go to wjspeaks.com/shop to get some of the books that we have created, that we've labored over to make sure that they will deliver a powerful message to you. I hope you go to williejolly.com/billionaire.
williejolly.com/billionaire or wjspeaks.com/billionaire to get the box that it will inspire your whole family, or get the bag of books. Make this a great day, a great week, a great month, and remember, it is true that you are blessed and all things are possible for them that believe. So make the most of the belief that you have now in your future. This is Dr. Willie Jolley. Have a great day.
Well, the holidays have come and gone once again, but if you've forgotten to get that special someone in your life a gift, well, Mint Mobile is extending their holiday offer of half off unlimited wireless. So here's the idea. You get it now, you call it an early present for next year. What do you have to lose? Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Limited time 50% off regular price for new customers. Upfront payment required. $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan. Taxes and fees extra. Speeds may slow after 50 gigabytes per month when network is busy. See terms.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.